The explosion wasn't literal, but it might as well have been. When Sam Heughan lost his temper, Hollywood felt the shockwaves. For years, the Scottish actor had cultivated an image of calm control, measured words, gentlemanly charm, and a quiet dignity that stood in stark contrast to the chaos of celebrity culture. But in the heat of scandal, even the calmest waters can turn into a storm. And that's exactly what happened when Sam finally snapped. It began with whispers, as it always does in Hollywood. Rumors about Caitríona Balfe, his longtime co-star and one of his closest professional partners, started trickling through gossip blogs and entertainment columns. The details were vague but incendiary. Whispers of questionable choices, of behind-the-scenes drama, of something brewing that could tarnish Caitríona's carefully built reputation. For months, she had managed to brush it all aside with the elegance that fans had come to admire. But when the chatter refused to die down, it reached Sam, and that's when the narrative changed. Sam's loyalty to Caitríona had always been visible, even if unspoken. On red carpets, in interviews, and in countless fan conventions, he had defended her, praised her, and shown the easy camaraderie that made their bond so magnetic. But as the scandal headlines grew bolder, painting Caitríona as the star of a Hollywood fiasco, Sam found himself pushed to the edge. His explosion came not in the form of a carefully crafted press release, but in an unscripted moment that no one saw coming. It happened during what should have been a routine press junket. A journalist asked a question that struck too close to home, twisting the rumors into a sensational accusation. For a split second, Sam's usually calm expression faltered. His jaw tightened, his eyes narrowed, and then he spoke, not with the soft diplomacy of an actor dodging controversy, but with raw anger. Witnesses recall his voice rising, sharp and unfiltered, as he dismissed the gossip as toxic lies, and condemned the media for destroying people's lives for profit. The room fell silent. Reporters who had expected a polite deflection suddenly found themselves face to face with Sam's fury. Cameras rolled, microphones captured every word, and within minutes, clips of his outburst flooded social media. Fans who had never seen him lose control were stunned. Some applauded his honesty, praising him for standing up for Caitríona when she needed it most. Others, however, interpreted the outburst as a crack in his polished facade, a sign that the pressure of fame had finally taken its toll. Hollywood thrives on moments like these. By the end of the day, Sam Heughan explodes, was plastered across headlines. Entertainment outlets dissected his every word, his tone, even the way his hands clenched as he spoke. Some commentators argued that his reaction was proof that the scandal surrounding Caitríona was serious. Why else would he be so defensive? Others suggested his anger was less about the rumors and more about years of bottled frustration spilling over. For Sam, the consequences were immediate. While his words had been meant as a defense, they had the unintended effect of amplifying the very scandal he was trying to quash. By exploding so publicly, he had ensured that the story would dominate headlines for days, perhaps weeks. Every outlet replayed the footage, pairing it with speculative commentary about the scandal that rocked Hollywood. Instead of extinguishing the flames, his anger had poured gasoline onto them. Yet there was something undeniably human about his reaction. Fans who had long admired Sam for his composure now saw a different side. A man who, under immense pressure, refused to remain silent when someone he cared about was under attack. It was messy, it was emotional, and it was real. In an industry built on rehearsed soundbites and polished PR, that authenticity was both shocking and magnetic. Still, questions lingered. What exactly was Sam so desperate to protect? Were the rumors about Caitríona baseless slander, or was there truth buried beneath the gossip that made him so defensive? His explosion left more questions than answers, and Hollywood thrives on unanswered questions. The backlash was swift. Industry insiders whispered that Sam's outburst had made things harder for everyone: publicists, producers, even Caitríona herself. Instead of calming the storm, he had made her scandal impossible to ignore. Tabloids ran side-by-side photos of Sam's fury and Caitríona's quiet composure, painting a picture of two stars caught in a drama bigger than themselves. The narrative shifted from a scandal involving Caitríona to a full-blown crisis that now encompassed them both. For years, Sam Heughan had been the picture of restraint, the unshakable gentleman. But in that moment, he became something else entirely. A man pushed beyond his breaking point. His explosion was a reminder that even the brightest stars can burn out under the relentless heat of rumor and scandal. And as Hollywood reeled from the shock, one truth became clear. This was only the beginning. If Sam Heughan's explosion was the spark, Caitríona Balfe's scandal was the inferno. The whispers that had haunted her career for months suddenly crystallized into a Hollywood firestorm, and she found herself in a spotlight harsher than anything she had ever experienced before. For years, Caitríona had been praised for her elegance, her grace under pressure, and her ability to carry herself with a kind of quiet authority. She was the counterbalance to Sam's charisma. Where he charmed, she grounded. But when scandal erupted, that balance shattered. The actress who once seemed untouchable was now the center of a narrative she could neither control nor escape. The scandal itself was maddeningly vague, which only made it more dangerous. Gossip blogs hinted at late-night parties, strained relationships, and professional conflicts behind the scenes. Tabloids painted her as the secret diva of Hollywood, suggesting that her perfect image was just a mask hiding tension and drama. None of it was confirmed, yet the lack of clarity was a feeding ground for speculation. Every denial seemed to fuel more suspicion. Every silence was interpreted as guilt. Caitríona's first instinct was to remain composed. In interviews, she smiled tightly, sidestepped direct questions, and reminded audiences of her dedication to her craft. But as the scandal snowballed, cracks began to show. Paparazzi photos captured her looking weary, her body language guarded. Online, these images were circulated with cruel captions. "Caitríona can't take the heat," or "Hollywood's darling crumbles under pressure." Behind closed doors, insiders said Caitríona was furious, not only at the rumors, but at the way Sam's public explosion had dragged her deeper into the chaos. While his outburst had been rooted in loyalty, it also ensured that the story dominated every news cycle. He thought he was protecting her, one industry source said, but in reality, he made her scandal unavoidable. The dynamic between Sam and Caitríona became the subject of endless speculation. Were they united in the face of adversity, or was the bond between them truly fraying? Fans who had once celebrated their friendship were now split. Some applauded Sam for defending her so fiercely. Others argued his anger only proved the scandal's seriousness. Social media became a battleground. Hashtags like #ProtectCaitríona clashing with #SamExplodes as both sides dissected every word, every gesture, every shadow of tension between them. Hollywood insiders worried about the impact on their professional future. The chemistry between Sam and Caitríona was the foundation of Outlander's success, and any perception of division threatened not only the show but the empire built around it: fan conventions, endorsements, even awards campaigns. Producers reportedly scrambled to present a united front, arranging carefully staged photo ops and urging both actors to emphasize their partnership. But audiences are sharp, and many claimed they could see through the performance. Caitríona herself finally addressed the storm, though cautiously. In a magazine profile, she was asked about the pressures of living under constant scrutiny. Her response was measured but telling. "It's difficult when people create stories about you that aren't true. You want to rise above it, but sometimes it feels like you're fighting ghosts. There's no winning when the narrative has already been written for you." Her words struck a chord with fans who sympathized with her plight, but critics seized on them as proof of fragility. Commentators wrote that Caitríona was cracking under pressure, framing her as a woman undone by Hollywood's glare. Once again, her attempt to reclaim the narrative was twisted into further evidence of scandal. Meanwhile, Sam's earlier explosion remained the defining image of the saga. Clips of his angry defense of Caitríona played alongside photos of her looking tense, cementing the narrative of a partnership under siege. In many ways, they had become characters in a new drama, not the scripted love story of Jamie and Claire, but a real-life saga of loyalty, betrayal, and survival in the face of relentless gossip. The tragedy of it all was how little truth anyone actually knew. Were the rumors baseless? Was the bond between Sam and Caitríona truly fractured, or was it simply being tested by the relentless pressure of fame? The answers remained locked behind closed doors, hidden from a world desperate for resolution. What was clear, however, was that Hollywood had been rocked. The explosion of one man's temper and the scandal surrounding one woman's reputation had collided to create a perfect storm. And in the end, whether the rumors were fact or fiction hardly mattered. In the eyes of millions, the image of Sam and Caitríona's unbreakable bond had been shattered, and nothing would ever look quite the same again.